I'm joined by the amazing Al Diaz and Patty Alfonso. How are we doing tonight?
Hello!
Hello. Glad you can make it.
Yay! We made it!
Sweet.
How does it get better than this?
Technical difficulties aside, we're ready to rock and roll.
Awesome.
Awesome indeed. How are we doing today, Al?
Phenomenal. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. See, I think the next time we should do the hangout shirtless. You and I can just be shirtless, you know.
Hey,
That's a true hangout.
Do
You
not
want to be shirtless
exclude.
too? Then yeah, hey, I'm all for it. Whatever you want to do. So, everyone out there listening, thank you for joining us. This is an evening of radical awareness. So, joined by some amazing speakers, some amazing coaches, both from the Los Angeles area. I'm here in sunny San Diego. And this evening, we would like to tell you a little bit more about what radical awareness is, why it's important, and how you can use it more in your life to be more awesome and more productive. So I'd love to give a little background, though, on what you guys have been up to and what you guys, what brought you to an event called Radical Awareness. So Al, I'm going to start with you. Why don't you give me a little background on yourself and how you got started within this realm and attracted to the Radical Awareness event?
You know, for 40 years of my life, I lived on a roller coaster. You know, sometimes I was on top of the mountain, and sometimes I was in a deep valley of despair. And one day I just said, I've had enough. I got tired of it. You know, I thirsted, and I knew there had to be a better way. I had to find the connection, how the universe or how humanity coexisted with the universe. So in my early 40s, I went after it. I desired to have that understanding. And eventually what ended up happening is I kept searching. I got involved in another roller coaster. I was looking for answers outside of myself. And it wasn't until I realized that I already had the answers, that all that anybody or anything could do for me is to guide me to remember the answers I already have. And once I accepted that and I understood that truth, my whole life just started taking off. And that to me is radical awareness. Having the understanding that we already have the answers, we just have to remember them.
Powerful stuff.
And then to be surrounded with individuals like yourselves, you know, who understand what radical awareness is, who understand that we can accomplish everything that we desire as long as it comes from within us, rather than being motivated by external influences.
Yeah, and that's a great distinction, Al. Thank you. I feel like a long part of my journey was chasing those external things for happiness, for all the things that I really wanted. And when I realized the fact that, like say, everything came from within myself, then I really became aware and became present to what was possible and what my power was to create that. So thank you for that, Al.
Welcome.
Patty Alfonso. So glad you could join us.
Richie.
For those of you watching, Patty Alfonso is in which part of Los Angeles are you in?
I reside in Studio City, and I have my offices in Marina del Rey and all over the world. So I'm expanding. I'm going global this year. So I've been working in Venice, in Australia, in New Zealand. I've just been getting out there and doing all that traveling just to get out and connect with the world.
Very awesome. So I'd love to hear a little background about how you became so radically aware.
Yay! You know, when I was little, and people would ask me what I wanted to be when I grew up, I would say that I wanted to be a combination between Marilyn Monroe and Mother Teresa. So I would say that I've always been radically aware of what's possible, of what I can create and what I can generate in this life. And through life experiences, you know, that awareness was just kind of squashed a little bit. I allowed that to happen. I created that as well. And, you know, similar story as Al, I just kind of went on this roller coaster ride that we call life, and I deviated from what I came here to do. And there was always this little voice in my head, though, that said, you know, you got to, like, get on track because you've come here to do something really important. And so getting on track for me meant going to energy healing school and sort of reawakening that Mother Teresa healer part of myself. And in that journey, you know, just really becoming aware of how aware I am of everything that's happening around me, and how aware I am of other people's thoughts, feelings, emotions, and sort of how that has an impact on my life. And in that journey, also finding, you know, access consciousness and learning the tools that I now have to be with all of that awareness, and how to come back to me, the infinite being that can be and create and perceive and be anything that I choose in this reality. So it's been an amazing journey, and as a healer, as a facilitator, as a speaker, as a writer, I love to just share with everyone what I have gained throughout the years so that you can have those tools as well. And to me, being radically aware is being aware of everything. And access defines consciousness as everything without judgment. So can you be aware of everything, not judge it, receive it, and make a choice so that you can have more possibilities in your life. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
All right, thank you. And I think you touched upon probably the most important thing that I could hear out of whatever you two said was choice. And you talk about being aware of what's going on in your life, you know, what's going on in your mind, what's going on within everything around you, and having choice in the matter. Because for the longest time in my life, I didn't believe I had a choice. I just sort of was at the cause of life, was at the effect of life. And I just sort of bounced from thing to thing.
That, I think, is one of the lies, if we could say, that this reality impels upon us, is that there's this one way to do it. You know, and Al and I have talked about this before in other interviews. You know, you're born, you go to school, you graduate from high school, then you go to college, then you graduate from college, then you meet your sweetheart, and you get married, and you have kids, and there's just like this path that's kind of set forth in this reality, and it feels like there's no choice. But the reality is, like, what's true for me is that there's infinite choices and infinite possibilities. And what would it take to have that radical awareness, to have the awareness that you can choose something different? And what is it that you want to create for your life? What's that deep desire that you have come onto this planet with that has nothing to do with getting up and going to work at 8 a.m. and coming home at 5 and sitting in traffic if you live in LA for like 2 hours? You know, so what is that? And what do you create for yourself?
Awesome. Yeah, that's super powerful. And just to break off topic real quick, Al, can you turn your volume down a little bit? I think it keeps jumping back to your picture because it can hear your volume and it thinks that you're speaking.
Does that help?
I don't know. We'll find out. I just know I was listening to Patty, and every time she would break, it would kind of cut over to your picture because it could hear the speech coming through.
Cool.
Not that I don't love looking at you, Al.
How does it get better than that? Al's energy is just so powerful. When you come to the event on Saturday, that's what you're going to see, is the power that is within the being of Al, and how he just pulls energy and fills the room with that. I know I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, you know, I've had the privilege of experiencing that on a small level, of experiencing Al's presence, and his energy that he brings to a room is really, really amazing. It's really, really gentle, but it's super strong and very, very loving. So it's a great energy to be within. I'm excited to share that with you guys.
Well, and so you guys know, I'm just a reflection of you. I'm just a reflection of you guys. So whatever you see in me is already you.
Absolutely.
You know, what's interesting is that, and as Patty touched on, you know, and I'm going to use a lie, we live this lie because we think that's how life is. You know, we are told what to do and how to be. And we go through life thinking this is how it's supposed to be. And then one day you wake up and you're going, no, it doesn't. It doesn't have to be this way. Not only that, I get to decide and choose how my life is going to be, rather than thinking that the way I was told, the way I was taught, the way I was, you become almost like a robot, you know, because you start thinking to yourself, you know, these are my circumstances. This is what I inherited. This is how life is going to be. And then you could throw in the stuff about DNA and your cultural and your society and your familiar. I mean, everything, you know, and you start saying this is what I was given, and this is what I inherited. And yet we have the ability, the innate ability or the power to say, okay, you know what, I'll hold on to what I desire to keep. And what no longer serves me, I decide I will let it go. And when I understood that, and it's a continuing process, something will pop up. And I had a call with Patty a few minutes ago. You know, I self-correct as often as I can. And if something's not working right, something's not going smoothly, I self-correct because I take accountability for what's going on in my life. And that to me is awareness in the sense that we have choices. We have the freedom to be who we are meant to be. But we have to make that decision.
Yeah, I agree, Al. That decision that, you know, to decide is to kill off, and to make that choice of that one direction or that one thing that you're choosing in that moment is a super powerful responsibility that we have, not only to the world, you know, to ourselves and the world. So I would like to
add something to that, Matt, because
Sure, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I love what you just said about to decide. I think you said to decide is to kill. So when we make a decision, a conclusion about something, right? This is the way it is, or this is what we're actually doing is cutting off the energy. So when we talk about choices and possibility, what else is possible? And choosing in 10-second increments. This is what I'm going to choose in these 10 seconds. And then you choose it. Choice creates awareness. So then you choose something, and then the awareness of all of the possibilities available show up. And then, okay, does that still feel light to me? Does that still feel expansive? Yeah, okay, so I'll choose something else. And then if it doesn't feel expansive, then to give yourself the freedom to make a different choice and see what that awareness is, what that choice is going to create in terms of awareness. And that ties into what we were talking about before, like this path that's kind of laid out for people. And you can choose it. That's great. If that's your path and that's what you're happy doing and what brings you joy and what is a contribution to your life, yay. But if it's not a contribution to your life, then what else can you choose? And what else is possible? So to decide, like, I think, you know, when I was younger, I kind of had this whole, like, Cinderella thing going on. I'm going to meet my Prince Charming, and I'm going to get married, and everything's going to be great. I'm going to have all these kids. And then as I got older, I was just like, wow, that doesn't resonate with me. That's not what I want to choose right now. I would like to choose something different. And in asking questions, other things showed up. So it's all choice, and there's no judgment in whatever choice is made. But to always be in the question. And these are all tools from Access Consciousness, which was developed by Gary Douglas and Dr. Dane here. And these tools are so expansive and so amazing, and I'm so excited to have this conversation with everyone that comes to the class on Saturday, because I just want to give you all this stuff so that you can go out and create the life that you want to create according to who you are and what you would require. So I just want to, like, invite everyone that's watching this right now, if you're watching and this is resonating for you at all, join us on Saturday, and I'm sure we'll have some stuff later to give away, but Yeah, come, change your life, because that's what this is all about, is being radically aware and stepping into the greatness that you truly be in this moment right now.
Thank you, Patty. That was awesome. So, I have a question. So, if I am going through my life, maybe I'm pretty happy, I have a job, and I have a family, and I don't really make many choices for myself, it seems like. I'm sort of at the effect of everything in my life, whether it be my job, my kids, my family, and everything else. What is being more aware of everything in my life going to provide me? Why would I be better off? Why would I be more fulfilled with more awareness? Either of you wants to take that question, go ahead.
Go ahead, Patty.
So I would ask you, what else is possible? And I would ask you to ask, how does it get better than this? Are you joyful? Are you exuberant? Are you happy? Is your life a contribution to you and to everyone around you? And when we start asking the question, how does it get better than this, and we start opening the energy to what else is possible, then the universe begins to gift you with different possibilities. And it's all choice. It's all choice. If you're totally content and happy in what you're doing, awesome. If there's even a small piece of you that is like, God, there's got to be something more, then I invite you to ask questions about what that is, about what else is possible. And when you're radically aware, when you are aware of everything that is happening around you and within you, then with that awareness, you can start making different choices. So one of the tools that I really like sharing is the tool of, does it feel light or heavy? So when something feels light to you, then it's true for you. When something feels heavy, then it's not true for you. So when you sit with your life and you sort of tune into the energy of your life, does it feel light, expansive, joyful, happy, exuberant, or does it feel heavy? Kind of, heavy for me is just kind of like, this kind of like the energy isn't moving, this sort of frozen, stagnant kind of feeling. So what is that for you? And choose according to that. If it feels light, awesome, you're doing great. What else is possible? If it feels heavy, okay, what else is possible? How does it get better than this? So that's my 2 cents on that.
Yeah, awesome, thank you. It's a great answer, by the way. I love the always being in inquiry of what else is possible, or what else can I do in my life to be more awesome, to have more fun, to experience life more fully, and to really enjoy this time we have on the planet. Whether you believe in afterlife, or you believe in multiple lives, reincarnation, whatever it is, you're here now. So to enjoy the time and space that you're occupying right now is hugely.
And what if the purpose of life is to have fun? How much fun are you having in your life? When we think about the contribution that we can be to consciousness, okay, to collective consciousness, to the earth, to everything, what is more contributive? Fun, joy, happiness, or like, I gotta get up and go to work and, whatever that is for you. I mean, for me, that was not fun. Having a 9-to-5 job, getting up, going to work, doing the same thing every day was not fun for me. That was just my interesting point of view. That was my experience of life. I knew that there had to be something more, and there just was. So again, I'm not trying to make anyone wrong. If that is your choice and you're happy and it fulfills you, then yay. Again, if there's even a small piece of you that's kind of like, I don't know, then I invite you to ask some questions about that.
Yeah, and that can be a hard question to ask. I know for a long time I didn't want to ask myself that question. I didn't want to have that conversation with myself, because I ultimately knew where it led. It led to me realizing that I was not on the right journey, that I was very unfulfilled, that my temporary happiness within external circumstances or other people was very fleeting. And that can be pretty daunting sometimes to think that everything you're doing is not really making you happy, and that something else is going to be there. But it can be scary to want to step out of that and step into something different, because change is the hardest thing we probably can do in life is change. Although we're creatures of change, it seems to come very reluctantly for most people.
It's funny that as I'm listening to both of you, now I understand why we're so connected. What I tell my audiences is I ask them 3 questions, actually 4. Are you comfortable? Are you fulfilled? Are you happy? And the 4th question was, do you have the ability to evolve? And if you got yes to all 4, you're doing fine. But if you're not fulfilled, if you're not comfortable, if you're not happy, and you don't feel like you have the ability to evolve, then it's time to go into a new way of being, being a radical awareness. Understand that we all have the ability to be happy. We all have the ability to be comfortable. We all have the ability to be fulfilled. We all have the ability to evolve. And that, to me, is radical awareness. When you understand that we all have the ability, each of us, to be happy, comfortable, fulfilled, and evolving on a day-to-day, moment-to-moment basis, then we're radically aware. Because in my perspective, in every moment we are guided. Whatever's going on in front of you, whatever's going on around you, we are being guided to remember something within ourselves, the answers that we have.
Love it, Al. Thank you. Whew. Getting chills just thinking about that.
If I could add to that, I love what you said, Al. I love what you said. And there's something that's coming to mind to me about being the magic that we as infinite beings can truly be. And when I talk about this, I talk a little bit about like the gifting that nature is to us. When you think about nature and how it's constantly giving, it's regrowing and regenerating, and there's flowers and trees, and the seasons come and they die and they come back, and that's the universe constantly giving. And even if you are comfortable, okay, I invite you to ask, what else is possible here? How does it get any better than that? Because the universe, like we create based on our limited mind. We create based on what we know, based on our past experiences, based on just what the mind can create, which, as you know, can be very, very, very limited. So when you think about nature and how it's always gifting and always receiving, that's the universe. It is so ready to gift you with so many more possibilities than you could have ever thought of. And that, to me, is magic. That, to me, is like the magic of the universe, the magic of the co-creation between you and what you don't know that you know, what you don't know that you require, right, and what's possible. So I just wanted to add that for people who are listening who are just content with their life. I just want to invite you again to just, what's magical about your life? What magic do you want to create that would just add that spark of just living to your life? It's just an invitation.
Awesome, Patty. Matt, I have a question for you.
Sure.
What is the difference in your mind, between radical awareness and New Age woo-woo stuff? Or is there a difference?
That is a fabulous question, Al. That is a fabulous question. Myself being from Pennsylvania and being in Southern California for the last 7.5 years now, I definitely get a little skepticism from certain people that grew up where I grew up and live where I live and just in those smaller areas. And me personally, like I've experienced, I've experienced a lot of things here in Southern California. There's pretty much anything you want to experience here. But when you talk about like the new age, the very metaphysical, woo-woo, whatever you want to call it, um, for me, radical awareness is the exact opposite. Radical awareness is your reality right now. Like, what thoughts am I thinking? What is going on around in my physical environment? Where is my journey heading? Like, what direction? What the action steps I've taken in the last month, year, which way are they directing me? And that awareness is the exact opposite of the woo-woo, because it totally grounds you in the present moment and makes you take 100% responsibility for every action you've taken, and really sheds light on what actions you're going to take next and what's possible within that. So I think the major difference is that they're just completely opposite when it comes to like the new age stuff and the stuff we can't put a hand on, so to speak. And there's definitely some of that tied into how I live my life, no question. But I always ground everything back into my reality, my physical presence, and how that is showing up, and how my decisions and how my thoughts are affecting my reality. Because I do a lot of coaching on subconscious mind stuff and just your mental toughness and unstoppable demeanor in general, and all of that in one way can be looked at as a metaphysical, woo-woo, spiritual kind of way, and in another way it's very grounded in our reality and in the actions we've created and the things we've manifested in our reality. So for me, I would just say the difference would be untangible to very tangible results. Thank you, Al, for that question.
Bravo. Love the answer.
Awesome. Can I add to that?
Sure, please.
That's amazing. I love that. And for me, radical awareness, my experience with like the metaphysical is not with all. My experience with some, okay, with some other modalities and some, other things, some people in that community, is that there's an intense focus, and I know that we were talking about this before, but there's an intense focus on like peace and love, and everything's going to work out, and everything is awesome, and there's like a kind of bypass, right? Being radically aware is also being radically aware of people who may want to hurt you, of people who may not be very nice to you, of people, and this is where like the adversity part comes in of what our event is going to be about. So can you be radically aware to the point where, okay, I'm aware that this person is not telling me the truth, and can I have that awareness, not be in judgment of it, and still continue being me? Can I be radically aware, that like that person down the street, their intention is to like steal my purse? And can I make a different choice to take care of myself in that situation? Can I be radically aware of the times where I am going to have the desire to be mean, where I have the desire to hurt someone, and can I make a different choice in that situation? So to think that like it's all love and that everything is, perfect and whatever, and that's kind of cutting off a huge part of who we truly are, because as an infinite being, you can be anything, and that includes like the yucky stuff or the bad stuff. So inclusion of everything without judgment. Wow, I have this intense desire to like really be mean to this person who's not being very kind to me. Can I make a different choice? Do I choose to be mean if that's going to create more consciousness? Because that could create more consciousness in the other person, have awareness of what they're doing. So to me, radical awareness is about all of it, everything without judgment, awareness of absolutely everything. So I just wanted to add that piece about, what my personal experience has been of of metaphysics and that kind of thing. It's just, yeah, I personally felt kind of squashed, like there wasn't enough room for me to be all of me. Yes, I can be a bitch. Trust me. If you mess with me, I can be a bitch. I can also be extremely kind and generous and loving and vulnerable. And yes, I can be mean. And yes, I have faults. And those are all part of me. And I don't judge them, and I just am with them. So that's mine. Yeah.
Matt, is this being recorded?
Yes.
So we'll have access to this again?
Absolutely.
The reason why I'm asking that question, between the two of you, you just distinguished what makes us different from all the other woo-woo stuff. The explanation that both of you just gave makes us collectively makes us totally different from what everybody else does. Your explanation, both of yours, I've never heard of before. I mean, I understand it, I get it, and it's funny because that's how I function. But it's the first time somebody said that I've heard it. I've been surrounded by tons of people. First time I've ever heard it expressed the way that both of you just did, and we just separated ourselves from everybody else. We just made ourselves very unique, and why radical awareness is vital and important.
I would totally agree with you, Al. I've seen a lot of events out there and a lot of different modalities, a lot of different things, and like I said, a lot of them aren't really grounded in much. And I'm not here to judge them or say they're good or bad, but for me, the things that have worked the most have been very grounded in my reality, have been making me more aware of my reality and the choices I have to make and how I show up in those situations. Such as Patty just said, I'm not always a fun, happy, loving guy. We have different phases of our life that come out, and to experience those, check in with those, be aware of not only what we're doing or how we're being, but what's causing them, and be able to go back and if we need to change root causes or change behavioral patterns. Those are all things that are possible nowadays that are very grounded and very tangible when it comes to results in your life.
Mm-hmm. And I love, and now I forgot. You said something, everything has its place and purpose, even those things that aren't very grounded or that, everything has a place. Like, everything speaks to someone on a different level, so everything it has its purpose. And for me, like when I was really involved in that community, it got me to ask more questions about, wow, what else is here? What is next? Because I just felt like I reached a kind of plateau, and I was just like, okay, what's next? And that's how I ended up in Access Consciousness. So everything that was before that was totally setting the sort of foundation for everything that comes after. So, the good, the bad, whatever, the ugly, the not grounded, the yes grounded, everything sort of fits into someone's universe somehow. And as long as we keep asking questions, and like you said before, Al, about, what's next and what else can I create, then, everything is perfect. Even the crappy stuff.
When we can start making all the crappy stuff perfect, that's when we know you're on a path of radical awareness.
What's interesting is
everything is a gift. Everything is a gift.
Go ahead.
I was just saying everything is a gift. I just find the gift in all situations. That's just part of my thing, is to find the gift in everything and then ask questions and move forward and keep moving forward and expanding and growing. And so, yeah. Go ahead, Al. Sorry.
Listening to both of you right now, I had an aha You know, several years ago, I was blessed with some amazing mentors from different modalities, and they were introducing me to their perspectives and how they function in life. And I learned, or I should say, I remembered a lot of things through them. But what I realized, and it's kind of funny now that when I reflect on it, is, and not that I'm better than anybody else, I will never say that, but I know I've become, quote unquote, more aware. And some of those previous mentors, you know, from several years ago, they pretty much stayed at their level, at that plateau that they were at. And I've become more aware because I didn't accept that's all there was. You know, that level of understanding, that level of wisdom, that level of knowledge. I just kept going, and because I kept going, because I desired to have that radical awareness, my life has just totally taken off. And now I reflect back and I run across them every now and then, and they're still where they were at 5, 7, 9 years ago, and they're happy. I'm not knocking them, but they decided to stay there. And I guess it comes back to choice. You know, what do we choose? Do we choose to stay where we're at, or do we choose to evolve and be all that we're meant to be?
Great point, Al. So that would lead me to a question of what keeps some people, like we'll say, stuck or at that level of awareness, and what's the deciding factor, the distinguishing difference between you and them, and why you went further and they're still there.
You know, and I just saw the movie Captain America the other day, and the bottom line to that movie was, do you want freedom or security? And I believe a lot of people, and not just my mentors or other people, a lot of people are secure and think that this is how life is. That as long as they have security, they're okay. Versus having freedom. The freedom to be. The freedom of choice. The freedom to pursue. The freedom to evolve. You know, that's different. And when you have freedom, and the freedom to make choices, the freedom to ask questions, the freedom to have free thinking, the freedom to evolve, that's way different than having security. And the crazy part about it is, the more you have freedom, the more secure you become. You cannot have security and think you're going to be free. It doesn't work that way. But the more freedom you have, the more secure you become.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I love that. I love that for security. Like, what would it take for that to be our reality? To know and be freedom and know that you're taken care of, and that no matter what happens, the universe has your back. And I love that you were bringing up these movies, because the movies that came to mind for me in relation to your question, Matt, were oh my gosh, that movie Divergent. I haven't seen it yet, but I've seen the previews, and then Hunger Games. So the danger, like, this is part of what I think the lies that this reality impels upon us, is the danger of being different, of really, really being definitely, they call it in Access, you're definitely different from this reality, from everyone else, and from what's happening. So to take that risk, to really embody everything that you are that's different from your family, from the people you work with, from your friends, and to really be that. There's this sort of like inherent feeling like you're going to end up going to lose your job and all this stuff that's going to happen if you really choose to be the different being that you truly be. And I think that is reinforced by movies like Divergent, where this person who is so different, they wanted to like outcast her. I haven't seen it, so or they want to like get rid of her because she's so different. But in being different, she's this like amazing, powerful woman, you know, who joins this other cult of like super different people, and they go off and save the world, something like that, you know. Or even the movie Noah that came out recently. Like, how different was he? that he was receiving these messages from, you know, God, whatever that means to you, and he was so, like, committed to what he was hearing and to fulfilling that vision that it did not matter what adversity he faced. He was just going to keep doing it. And I think that that fear of adversity, that fear of not belonging, that fear of, you know, what if I get it wrong, I think that's all part of what keeps us stuck. But what if you got it right? You know, and saying that without judgment, what if you got it right? What if in your choosing to be the definitely different person that you are, you find yourself with a whole group of other definitely different people who support you and want you to succeed and want you to be the crazy, wacky person, you know, that you truly be. It's for you. I mean, I'm crazy and wacky, so I know I've met up with a whole bunch of crazy and wacky people, yeah. And we're creating amazing things that are contributing to consciousness. So if you weren't playing a role in your life, who would you truly be? What would that look like if you weren't playing the role of daughter, father, son, mother, black sheep, virgin, whore, whatever? If you weren't playing a role, who would you truly be? And what would you choose from that space? So, and those are the things that I think, you know, yeah.
And my question to you would be, how... I always think when you were speaking there, I was thinking about, you know, accepting my weirdness. And there's a lot of people out there who are very uncomfortable with their weirdness, or with, you know, they're different from other people, and they don't feel comfortable embracing that. What advice would you give to someone who hasn't accepted their weirdness yet?
Being with and accepting everything about you without judging yourself will give you the most freedom that you could ever possibly imagine. Freedom, creativity, generative energy. I mean, it will just be such a gift that I can't even tell you. And like, I am so weird. I am so weird, and I am so different. And when I was younger, like, my parents, my family could not deal with how weird I was. So they were constantly, like, shushing me, stop doing that, be quiet, you know, you're making too much noise. Like, there was just this constant squashing of my weirdness and my differentness. And it created such unhappiness within me. You know, I turned to drinking and drugs and alcohol because I was so just like trying to fit myself into this small little box of what they thought I should be. And I didn't fit in that small little box. I just don't, you know? And when you meet me on Saturday, you'll see. So, you know, are you trying to fit into this small little box for what? Please other people so that they're more comfortable, but then you're suffering because you're uncomfortable. What contribution is that to you and to your life and to the universe? No. Be big, be weird, be naughty, be amazing, be happy, be all of that. Because when you are all of those things for yourself, you are actually the invitation for everyone else around you to be that. Everyone. And if they can't choose that, then that is their problem. They can go deal with it. You know, that's just my point of view on all that. Coming from someone who is super weird and who has tried to not be weird most of her life, and to not be funny, and to not make stupid jokes, and to not cuss, and to not, man, I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that in my life anymore. It's time to show up and be big and contribute to consciousness. So that's my advice and my little story to go with it.
Well, you're doing it fabulously.
Hello, how much fun am I having in my room all by myself, just talking, going on and
on? Let's see if anyone out there has a question. So if you're listening right now and you have a question, go ahead and shoot me in the chat box here. I'll give it a minute here. So, Al, anything coming up for you around accepting your weirdness?
You know, the one thing and I did. The first 40 years of my life, I didn't even accept myself. And what I realized that is I had a massive ego. I mean, my ego was as big as a city block. And I used to be able to force things to happen. And it came across very cocky and confident. But in reality, I had low self-esteem, low self-worth. I definitely didn't love myself unconditionally. I respected myself. I took care of myself, but nobody ever showed me to love myself unconditionally. When I started doing that, when I started loving myself, when I took on the task of loving myself unconditionally, my life started to shift, and my ego shrunk, and my self-worth and my self-esteem raised to a level that beyond my wildest dreams. And now, you want to call it weirdness, I do whatever I please. As long as I don't hurt anybody or harm anybody, then I speak my peace, and I allow myself to be all that I am and who I'm supposed to be. But it all started by loving myself unconditionally. And for the event on Saturday, the audience, and I want you to listen to this, audience, I'm going to put you through a very powerful process that's going to open you up beyond your wildest dreams. I mean, it's so powerful that it's going to create a shift within you towards loving yourself unconditionally.
Mm-hmm. So that is a very powerful shift, because if you can love yourself unconditionally, that opens up the floodgates for so many other things to happen. Thank you.
Well, I have you guys in my life. See what it does? See?
Definitely pulls in good people. Definitely pulls in good people. We got a question here from Raul. He says that he has experienced Patty's miraculous healing power, and he wants you to explain energy healing.
Explain energy healing. In my work that I do one-on-one with my clients, it's really about whatever the body requires in that moment. And that can be anything from, clearing energy blocks, working with the chakras, expanding the energy so that you can have a sense of the space that you can occupy. I do bars sessions. I do access consciousness bar sessions. I do access body processes. And it's really, I ask a lot of questions. What would your body require? And I ask of the body, not so much of the being, but what is it that your body requires in order to let go of all of the things that are keeping you stuck in your life? And, being an infinite being, I have access to infinite energy, whether it's energy from the earth or it's energy from source or the universe. And so whatever it takes so that you can free yourself of your limitations. That's what I pull from when I work with bodies one-on-one. So thank you, Raul, for that question. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and thank you for that answer. As much as I think I got a good taste of that, it actually leaves me wanting to have more questions. But we're about out of time here. It's already about 50 minutes into our webinar here. And I wanted to close or bring to the end here, and I wanted to have each of us state why you think someone should come to our event on Saturday. Al, do you want to go first?
Sure. If you're at the point in your life where you desire or require to have something different, if you're in the point of your life where it has to be better, if you're at a point in your life where you know what, I've done what I've done and all that I can be, and it's time to go to the next level. If you're in the point of your life where you could bring forth a greater influence to our world, but most importantly to your own life and to the loved ones that you live with and you're surrounded by. And it's time for you to start bringing forth that influence, to emanate that energy that's going to create influence. If you're at a point in your life where, you know what, it's time for me to have a fulfilled life, to live on purpose, this is the event you want to come to have the radical awareness and the tools and the guidance and the remembering of your own answers so that you can have the life that you desire to have.
Powerful, Al. Thank you.
I would like to say that the universe is calling and you need to pick up the phone.
That's better. That's well said. There you go. Pick up the phone.
I would just ask the question, what would it be like to be in a room full of people who are also searching and also desiring something greater for themselves and for the world? And how much freaking fun can we have, collaborating and co-creating and contributing to consciousness, not just in your own life, but in the life of the people around you, because when you change, everyone else around you will change, and the world will change. And we kind of need that right now. We really, really, really require everyone to step into their greatness, because that is what the world requires right now. So if you're watching this, I'm just going to venture to say that you're here for a reason. And I implore you to choose and to see what possibilities can open up for you. Because how does it get better than this? And what else is possible? And what if the purpose of life was just to have fun?
I like that last question.
Money follows joy, people, I'm just saying. Not the other way around. Money follows joy. If you're happy and joyful, you're generating. You're a generative energy that will receive and attract more cash. So a lot of people need some cash out there. Choose, and the universe will respond.
Beautiful. And you guys were both so PC and diplomatic about that. Sometimes when I talk to certain people, I just gotta call them out, And
yeah. Do it, Matt. Call them out. Tell them.
I love the phone analogy, by the way. The universe is calling, right? I always say, if you're listening to my voice right now, then there's a reason for that. 'Cause I believe, this is my personal motto, this is what I put forth, is that everything happens to my maximum advantage. So every single thing in my life is there for a purpose of some sort, whether it be a challenge or a problem or whatever it is. It's there for my growth and my journey to be a better version of myself so that I can tackle the things I need to tackle and have the impact I want to have in the world. So when people, they're on the fence of like, I don't know if I want to do this or whatever, the universe is calling, you're listening to my voice for a reason, and when you really check in with yourself, if you're completely honest with yourself, there's a little voice in there telling you to go forth. And there's always going to be that duality of voices, the one of fear saying that you shouldn't do it, or that it's scary, or that you don't need that, or let's go play basketball instead. But there's also the voice of your heart and the voice of spirit that comes through you and is like, this sounds like a good idea. Maybe I should try that. What is possible? I do want to have more fun. I do want to make more money. Those little voices that say that, and they deserve to be heard. For a long time I didn't give that voice any recognition or very little recognition, and I paid a price for that. The price is not playing full out, playing on a small level, and being pretty unfulfilled and not experiencing as much fun and experiencing the love and the abundance that life has to offer. So I tell people, if you're listening to my voice right now, then maybe it's time to check in with the voice that's inside your head and really connect with what the message is really, what your heart is telling you and what the message is for you in your life and what that looks for you going forward.
I love that.
Thank you. Thank you. So sometimes I feel like I need to be called out. So I always feel, that's my reflection to the universe is that people that are listening to my voice or people that talk to me, they need that to take forward, to take action, to step into it. Because like me, for a long time I didn't. I just didn't listen to that, and I wish someone would have called me out earlier, to be honest. So.
And I know that we have a special gift for everyone who signs up for the event on Saturday. Who's going to talk about that?
You seem to be primed. Why don't you go for it, Patty?
So to register for the event, go to radicalawarenesssocal.com, and when you sign up for the event on this Saturday, what's the time? I should probably know that. But Saturday's so far away right now.
9 a.m.
9 a.m. You're going to receive a 30-minute free coaching session. So take advantage of that. You've got like 3 amazing coaches. You've just had a taste of what it is that we're about and the things that we can share with you to help you improve your life. So go to radicalawarenesssocal.com. Come to the event on Saturday. It's going to be so much fun, and you're going to get a free session with one of us. So how does it get better than that? And what else is possible?
Yeah, that's a huge value. The 30-minute session is something that alone is worth the price of admission, and that alone could change your life. So having that by itself is amazing. Putting that on top of the event, stacked with all the amazing stuff that yourself and myself and Al are going to bring to the table, and the fun we're going to have, is just bonus. And I did put the link in here on the chat if you guys can see it there. radicalwellnesssocal.com. Just click on that link, go there, and you can purchase tickets and get all the information you need. So, Al, would you like to finish up and say any final words?
For the audience, how would you like to leave an event, and I'm talking about the one this Saturday, with the radical awareness of knowing beyond faith and trusting beyond hope? Know beyond faith and trust beyond hope. That's the kind of radical awareness you will leave with on Saturday. Join us.
Thank you, Al.
Awesome.
Welcome.
Any parting words, Patty?
I just feel really blessed, and I have a huge amount of gratitude for you guys, and I feel like we're all really different, so we all have so many different things to offer. And I just feel really grateful to be a part of this event and to share this with you guys. And I feel even more grateful to be able to share it with all of the people who are watching this and who are going to be attending the event on Saturday. And when you're in a space of gratitude, like, anything is possible. So thank you. And I'll see you Saturday.
See you Saturday. Thank you for that. And I would 100% agree. Gratitude is one of the biggest things that I work on myself personally, and then that I help other people with, because gratitude just opens up this space for anything and really calls in possibilities that weren't there before you really took inventory and were grateful for all the things you already have in your life. So I'm extremely grateful to be here now speaking with you two and everyone else at home, and I'm really, really excited to be there Saturday and get up in front of everyone and really have fun. I'm just really excited to have fun, and I've never done a live event with you guys, but I know you're fun, and I'm excited to experience your funness, because I can feel it coming through the computer already. So if you're out there listening right now, radicalawarenesssocal.com, or check out the link right here. Buy a ticket. We'll see you Saturday. There's going to be some amazing people there. It's a really great venue. Everything's lining up. The universe is calling. It's time to answer the phone. So have an amazing evening, and we'll see you guys Saturday. Cheers.
Let's rock.
Woohoo!